Kaugnay sa ulat ng Senado sa misencounter o massacre sa Mamasapano, mga kapanayam natin sa linya ng telepono si Senadora Grace Poe, na siyang chair ng Committee on Public Order. Magandang umaga po, Senator Poe.
Hi, magandang umaga, Howie and Cara, lahat po na nakikinig.
So are we a big step towards closure on this issue?
Alam niyo po, pagdating sa mandato ng Senado, yung sa amin talaga ay magbalangkas ng batas para mas maisaayos ang mga institusyon. So para doon po sa tingin ko, naganap namin ang aming trabaho at maraming mga naayon na mga pagbabago na dapat nating gawing batas. No? Pero pagdating sabihin na natin sa kabuuan sana ng mga nagawa o kung anumang mga estratehiya sana ang ginawa, no? Siguro ito'y mas may mga pagkakataon pa ng ibang ahensya ng gobyerno. Halimbawa, yung NBI or yung DOJ sa kanilang report ay mas matutugis nila.
Okay. Senator, naikumpara niyo po ba ang inyong report sa report ng Board of Inquiry ng PNP? At may mga nakita ba kayong pagkakaiba?
Yung unang-una, no? Siyempre yung sa PNP, yung BOI nila, mas technical po yung kanilang report. Yung mga in-interview po nila ay talagang mas marami yung mga tao dun sa ground rin, yung mga kapulisan na nandun at yung mga sundalo, mas naayon sa hanay ng kanilang ahensya, no? At saka sa operasyon. Pero yung sa amin, siyempre, ang pagkakaiba nito ay mas legal ang aming pananaw, mas konkreto yung aming mga hakbang, halimbawa kung ano ang mga maaaring isampa na kaso. Yun po yung sa tingin kong pinakamalaking pagkakaiba. Subalit, sa tingin ko nagkakapareho rin naman kami na may pananagutan ang lahat ng mga nagbigay direktiba dito at mga nagplano nito.
Okay, sa amin, no, napansin namin malaking pagkakaiba rito. Yung you addressed quite squarely yung posibleng accountability ng Pangulo, no? Pero may mga issue pa kaugnay nito, no? Yesterday, you seemed to vouch for his good intentions behind the operation. Pero sinabi niyo rin na dahil inasahan niya ang suspendidong PNP Chief Alan Purisima, may doubts sa kanyang hangarin, sa hangarin ng Pangulo. Hindi kaya may mga importante pang hanging questions kahit may dalawang report na ang lumabas. Halimbawa, bakit nga ba inasahan ng Pangulo si Purisima at bakit out of the loop ang PNP OIC Espina at DILG Secretary Mar Rojas?
Alam mo, tama ka dyan. Alam mo, napakahirap yan ng kinalalagyan namin at nagawa namin. Alam ko, at least personally, no, ang Pangulo, wala siyang corruption issue. Alam ko nga na siguro nga, yung sinabi ko nga sa tinagal-tagal ng panahon, siya yung pinaka sa tingin kong tapat na Pangulo natin pagdating sa kanyang pagdating nga sa non-corruption issue. Ano. Kaya nga po, dito, sabi ko, yung intention niya na magkaroon ng matugis nga itong dalawang terorista, tama naman yun eh. Kasi para sa akin, pag nabawasan nga ng mga terorista, mas ligtas tayo kahit papano. Kaya lang nga sabi ko, sumama, para bang may ginawa kang plano na, ito na nga, plano na nga ito na meron kang pinagkatiwalaan, pero yung pinagkatiwalaan mo, duda yung tao naman sa kanila, opposite mo naman pagdating dito sa mga issue na to. So, mas lalo pang nagkaroon ng duda at lalong-lalo na sumama ang sitwasyon. Alam mo, para sa akin, no, hayaan na natin kung legal man, nag-break ng chain of command, wala namang liability yan na legal liability. The President always has that prerogative. It may not have been spelled out clearly in the AFP that the President has command responsibility, has authority over everyone else, but it's a fact. He's the President. Kaya nga po yung para sa akin, ang importante lang kasi, kaya may chain of command ang anumang struktura, ay para nga huwag magkaroon ng kalituhan, mas madaling matukoy kung sino ang responsable, at lalong-lalo na any armed organization or group should always have a chain of command because they're handling weapons, di ba? So importante po yun. You cannot just irresponsibly fire it, or you cannot irresponsibly act on your own decisions. You always have to have the assurance of a leader above you.
Yeah, Senator, many of us witnessed the Senate hearings, your committee's hearings last year nung humarap sa committee ninyo si PNP Chief Alan Purisima. At yung findings ng report ninyo, ng Senate committee nyo, raised serious doubts about his integrity, and on that basis, partly on that basis at least, no, sinuspindi nga siya ng ombudsman. But despite all of that, inasahan pa rin siya ng Pangulo dito sa napaka-sensitive na operation na to. No? Of course, you addressed this partially in your report. Pero sa tingin nyo ba, bakit ba inasahan ng Pangulo si suspended PNP Chief Alan Purisima?
Sabi niya kasi dahil yun ang may alam talaga dun sa mga opla nila bago pa lang nangyari ito. Merong Wolverine, merong Terminator, at kung ano pang mga opla nila. Kaya meron na siyang parang hindi naman institutional knowledge, pero meron na siyang kaalaman ukol dito. So nagbibigay lang daw ng advice. Nandun na nga kami. Kaya lang nga mahirap kasi yung actual planning stages na. Kasi di ba pag informer ka, you don't necessarily have to be there in the planning stages, and also relaying information at the time of the actual crisis. Alam niyo po yung sinasabi ko nga dun sa question and answer kahapon. If it was somebody who's legally sanctioned to take leadership on the matter, for example, OIC Espina, di pwede sana na mas lantaran yung kanyang partisipasyon. He could have probably directly supervised na Peñas. I wouldn't even be surprised if he would have gone exactly to Mama Sapano on that day, considering the importance of the operation. Pero dahil nga suspendido, hindi siya pwedeng magpakita. At dahil doon, limitado ang kanilang komunikasyon, limitado ang kanilang koordinasyon. But Howie, I'd also like to point out that General Napeñas has a big role to play here, and he has the biggest responsibility also, because even in the BOI report, it is noted that if you're the ground commander, you have the biggest responsibility. Direct yung responsibility mo eh. Sabi niya, nagplano sila 2 days before. Nag-ensayo na daw sila, pero nagkanda wala pa sila. They were 3 hours late. Aside from being late, they lost men crossing the river. Hindi na nakarating yung dapat kung ilan man sila. Hindi lamang yun. When we were interviewing General Napeñas, he was not being forthright about the participation of the U.S. representative there. Marami siyang mga hindi sinabi. Saka he didn't listen to the president when the president said you should have the support of the AFP. And then time on target is his own principle because the PNP does not adhere to it. Now, the time on target, let's say he employed it strictly, he was even not following it through because, first of all, he informed the AFP when they already had Marwan, not when they got to the target area. So marami talaga, pati yung alam niyo ba yung si General Pangilinan, hindi nalaman until 5 in the afternoon na meron palang 84th SAC doon. Meaning, even time on target, his coordination was limited. He did not give the AFP the proper information, how many men were in there, exactly what their routes are, entry and exit points, na iisa lang. Para sa akin talaga, mabigat yun. Marami siya talagang pananagutan dito.
Yes. Pero yung lack of coordination with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, hindi ba call yun ng suspended PNP Chief Alan Purisima? I mean, how much liability or accountability should Napeñas bear in that instance? Kasi parang I think Napeñas was operating under vague leadership at this point, di kaya?
That's exactly the term, vague leadership. Alam niyo po, granted that General Purisima said, ako nang bahala kay Katapang, meaning he assumed that the AFP would have gone there. If he really had the contingency plan, by the time he informed the AFP, he should have given them already a manual of their operations, not just the location. Obviously, even at that time, when he informed the military, it was through text, it was so unprofessional, it was just their location. He did not even point out exactly the technical, the technical details that would have helped the military. Now, number two, the time on target, that's why it's not a principle adhered to. First of all, you should be able to communicate with them if in case the military sends reinforcement. Ano bang radyo, ano bang frequency yung gagamitin ninyo so that you can coordinate and keep in contact. So these things, General Peñas didn't anymore think about. He just really decided that it would be a surgical operation. I don't think he really anticipated that they would need the help of the AFP. That would have probably been possible if they were on time. They had the advantage of their night vision goggles as opposed to being there late, and their advantage of being able to operate in the dark was lost.
Okay, ma'am. Basically, all of these mistakes add up to a general impression of gross incompetence that led to these tactical blunders that led to itong sinasabi niya nga massacre. But General Peñas is supposedly one of our most experienced commanders. Marami siyang experience and training, and supposedly kaya siya naging commander ng elite force na yan ay dahil sa kanyang supposed competence. So, what does this say about the general competence of our security forces? Dahil kayo po ay chair kayo ng Senate Committee on Public Order, this must be very alarming for you, and for the public at large.
You're right. I'm sure that they have a lot of talented individuals in the AFP and the PNP. He wouldn't have reached that point if General Peñas didn't show exemplary service in the past. We really need to evaluate, not just in the Philippines, but in other countries as well. There's always merit as a basis for promotion, but there's also a lot of politics inside. So I'm not really sure the vetting process for being the head or the commander of a unit. But one thing's for sure is that it doesn't matter how competent you are or how capable you are. There's really a point in time when you will make mistakes. It doesn't matter even if it's the president, even if it's the commander. And so pointing out exactly and being humble enough to admit those mistakes and pay the consequences for it. In the case of General Peñas, it will be very harsh on him, even if it's not a criminal liability, because it's an administrative liability where his entitlement for pension and then his years of service, the legacy that he will leave behind with the PNP, will all be affected. So, what we really need to do is take a closer look at this. There should be a civilian head of the Internal Affairs Office of the PNP, and as we said, the structure has to be maybe re-evaluated, and the process for promotion should be more transparent.
Well, speaking of which, ma'am, kasi yung pangunahing layunin po ng inyong investigasyon at saka report ng inyong committee ay in aid of legislation. So ano yung mga susunod pong pwedeng maging hakbang to make sure this kind of incompetence does not rise to the top of our security forces?
Well, one thing is when we deliberate on the floor, when we discuss on the floor the PNP modernization bill, all of these will be tackled. The PNP modernization bill is vital because aside from reviewing the structure and then the operations of the PNP, it will also allot budgetary requirements for their equipment or what other requirements they might need to be able to perform their work better. So one of those things we will really tackle. Ano ba nangyari dun sa mga radyo ninyo? Why is it that every one SAC group only had one radio? So pag nabaril na yung taong yon o nasira yung radyong yon, nawala na, nagka-text na lang lahat. Isa yun sa mga, yung PNP modernization that's very broad. Another thing is the call to really implement what is in their law, that they should have a civilian head of the PNP. Matagal na yun kasi tingnan mo si General Purisima. What called the attention of authorities about his involvement in possible anomalies was not even the internal affairs unit of the PNP. They should have been the first. So these are just a few things that we will tackle. There's a complete list of our legislative agenda and proposals in our report.
Ma'am, I have one final question before Cara David asks a couple of questions. Do you think an apology by the President can help us all move on this and put closure on this issue?
Well, I think that a person apologizing, especially if it is sincere and it is truthful, I think that it will be accepted, especially by most of our countrymen. I think we're very forgiving. But again, an apology is not just a statement. It comes also with certain commitments. For example, I apologize for this because of what happened, but these are the things I need to do so that it won't, because of what happened. Number one, those that committed the murder should be tried and sentenced to the full extent of the law. That those that are responsible also should be held accountable, even within the PNP and the military. It cannot just be a sweeping apology. There has to be conditions to it.
Okay, ma'am. Si aking co-anchor na si Cara David po may dagdag na mga tanong.
Good morning po, Senator.
Hi, good morning, Cara.
Okay, ma'am, ang nasa isipan ngayon ng maraming tao, ano ang posibleng maging epekto or implikasyon nitong report na inilabas ninyo doon sa Bangsamoro Basic Law? Ang matingkad doon sa nilabas ninyong report ay sinabi ninyo na hindi ito misencounter at hindi ito self-defense lamang on the part of the MILF or the BIFF, pero ito ay isang massacre. So this puts serious doubt on the sincerity of the MILF pagdating sa peace process. Ano po sa tingin ninyo magiging implikasyon nito sa BBL, ma'am?
Siyempre, kung sabi ko nga kung merong kahalagahan itong report na ito at yung pangyayari na ito, ay nagising tayong lahat na hindi natin pwedeng ipaubaya sa iilan lamang ang malaking desisyon na ganito katulad ng BBL. Alam niyo po, importante talaga na maayos na yung sitwasyon sa Mindanao. Kaya hindi din dapat padalos-dalos na mag-withdraw ka na ng support din sa peace process, no? Importante talaga yun sapagkat yung poverty incidence na lang nila doon ay doble sa national average. Yung illiteracy rate nila mas mataas. Yung crime, yung mga terroristic activities nga, malaki rin. Kaya nga po, pag nakakausap mo, yung mga sibilyan, yung mga babae, yung mga nanay dyan sa ARM, marami talaga sa kanila na maigusto na talaga kapayapaan. Narinig nga natin sa news, sa tingin ko nga sa GMA pa yata yun, no? Yung mga sinol ng mga equipment ng staff. Ang nagbigay nun, mga civilians.
Right.
Kasi nga, para bang ayaw na nila na may nagkakagulong ganito. Kung ikukumpara mo, ang grupo ng MILF, BIFF, or PAGs, our private armed groups, sa mga civilian, kukonti lang naman talaga sila. Kaya nga po, itong BBL, kailangan talagang pag-aralan. Rekomendasyon namin na sa committee ng local government, tignan ang mga provision, katulad ng pagkakaroon ng sariling POA, pagkakaroon ng kanilang sariling civil service, at pagkakaroon ng kanilang sariling public, yung police nila. Okay? So, yun po ay hindi natin sigurado kasi kung ibibigay natin sa kamay ng iilan lamang, baka naman, ang mga yumaman lang o ay yung mga umunlad lang ay yung mga namumuno at hindi makarating sa pinakamaliliit nating mga kababayan. Yun po yung aming takot at reservation dito sa BBL.
Pero you're not giving up on the peace process.
No, I don't think that we should. I think we have an obligation to really seek out peace and justice. But again, these should go together. It should not be one or the other. We should continue to strive for peace, and this is not just a motherhood statement, but definitely the MILF, the men who participated in the massacre, who killed defenseless men, should be brought to justice. Otherwise, there can be no moving on in these talks, especially since we are dealing directly with the MILF, who admittedly have their men involved in this massacre.
Alright, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras, Senadora Grace po.
Salamat.
Thank you.